In 3, 2, 1.
Alright, how's that? Oh, good, thank you. Alright. Put your name down. And keep your hands behind your back now.
Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ian, and I will be your tour guide through Slip World on the Penryn Slate Quarry. It's a bumpy ride, guys, so hold on tight and make yourselves comfortable. You will be shaken, but you won't be stirred. You have just completed the Little Sipper, which, believe it or not, is still the 5th largest in UK. So it's not actually that little. It takes the average rider 30 seconds to complete it, reaching speeds between 30 to 35 miles per hour. It's a good icebreaker. It shows you how we operate, but more importantly, and hopefully, it prepares you for the big Sipper. Once you get on the platform at the top, you will be looking down the longest slip wire in Europe and the fastest in the world. The story of the Slate Quarry begins in the Caribbean, believe it or not, where the Englishman John Pennant lived. In the early 1700s, John Pennant was one of the wealthiest men in the world. He had around £75,000 worth of slaves working on his sugar plantation, as well as owning several rum distilleries too. In 1781, John Pennant died, leaving his vast wealth to his son Richard, who on a business trip over to North Wales met a local girl, fell in love, and decided to sell everything back home in Jamaica and move over to Wales to marry this young lady. She also had inherited some of her family's land, including the National Trust-owned Penryn Castle near the Menai Straits. One day he was taking a walk on the land and he came across the mountain and saw a few local guys extracting the slates on a small scale for their farm. He decided he was going to open up his own quarry. He paid them £2 each to leave and then bought the rights to the mountain itself for £1. It was in 1784 that Richard started spending his inheritance on what was to become the largest slate quarry and man-made hole in the world at 400 feet deep. As he developed the quarry, he also built a narrow gauge railway line all the way down to the newly developed port in Panga. It was 6 miles long and one of the first narrow gauge railway lines in Britain. So you may have noticed the shelves or stacked cliffs around the lake at the bottom of the Little Sipper. They were called galleries and there were a total of 32 in all. All these galleries had names. Lord Penryn named a few of them after his family, and some were named after the royal family. The end of the Little Sipper is on the St. Park Gallery. Each gallery had a group of men working on them, and they all had either a football team or a choir. They used blasting as the method of extracting the slates. Workers would sail down their off face, drill or bore a hole into the slate, then fill the hole with gunpowder or dynamite and blast huge pieces out. These bits of slate were then sent down to the shed, where they would have been split and cut by hand and sold on for things such as roof, floor tiles, fence posts, and even large bits were used in country. slates keeps its temperature really well, so keeping it cool aided as a type of refrigeration to keep produce fresh. In the 1900s, the men could no longer stand the hardship, the poor working conditions, and the low pay. Their pay was not related to how hard they worked, but how much good slate was extracted. They went on strike, which became the longest strike in British trade union history. It lasted over 3 years. As soon as it began, 1,500 men left, never to come back. They left for the coal mines of South Wales and other parts of Britain. Some even went to the United States of America, where I know for a fact that there's a slate quarry in Poultney in Vermont, which I visited myself when I went with a choir. The first choir ever to go to America from Bethesda went during the strike and visited New York, Chicago, and Boston. They went there to try and win competitions to bring back money to feed their families. We went to celebrate 100 years on. We ended up back in Poultney, where the people there spoke Welsh as if they had just come off the plane with us. But as soon as they spoke English, they had the American accent. I am sure the first men from Bethesda to go there would have played a big part in developing the slate quarry there, which was named the Hilltop. As we are driving up, you'll notice the road running along the bottom of the mountains and into the valley. This is the A5. It was built by Sir Thomas Telford and it begins in Holyhead, the furthest point of the Isle of Anglesey. It comes through many little villages on Anglesey and into Llanfair, Wingate, Crogerill, Windrobwood, San Cecilio, Coco. Eventually the A5 comes into Bethesda, heads out through the Ogwen Valley towards Capel-Kerry, Betws-y-Coed, and 250 miles later comes down Edgware Road in London and ends in Marble Arch. The two mountains you can see rising above the A5 are Garnet Dafydd and Garnet Llywelyn. They are the third and fourth highest mountains in Wales, with Snowdon being the number one. These mountains were named after two Welsh princes that used to live and rule around these parts. They join the Ogwen Valley, one of the prettiest valleys in North Wales, which is a great example of a glacier U-shaped valley. It's also home to Tryfan, which is the tallest peak to the right of the valley. Tryfan is where the first expedition team up Everest came to train for a month before the big venture, including Sir Edmund Hillary. The highest point is so steep, they have to get on their hands and knees to reach the summit. The sit wire was installed by hand. They attached a 4mm dyneema cord to the top and pulled it down the bank, abseiled down the cliff, canoed across the lake, then pulled back up the cliffs the other side. The end of the cord was attached to a thin cable, which the process was repeated and increased each time until they reached the 16mm cable that's installed now. The cable has a breaking strength of 27 tons and each one weighs approximately 2.6 tons. It takes the average rider 57 seconds to complete it, reaching speeds between 80 up to 120 miles per hour, which is our current record set by ex-Wales and British Lions rugby player Scott Winnell. Through the first part you will get a good sense of ground and feel the acceleration immediately until you reach the 500-foot drop-off down the cliffs to the lake. It's at this point you will get the sense of flying, At a certain point you may feel like you're slowing down or stopping, but this is perfectly normal. It's due to the height and lack of reference points. Your body can't feel how fast it's actually going, like when you look out of an aeroplane window, but you will be traveling at the fastest at this point. The lake is approximately 400 feet deep and gets its beautiful blue color from the slates reflecting through. There's no dye or mineral pollution in the water, and it is crystal clear. I will now pass you back to the driver where they will explain what to do next. I hope you enjoyed your journey up with me. I hope you enjoy your flight back down and have a safe journey home. Enjoy.
Right.